Welcome everyone, both friend and stranger, old and new, to this time of worship in the Unitarian tradition. My name is Diane Rutter and I am the lay assistant here at Kingswood Meeting House. We're based in Hollywood in the West Midlands. My hope is that the words, prayers and hymns today will bring comfort, hope and an uplifting of the spirit. My thanks go to Peter Flower, who makes all this possible. So let us now take a moment to pause as we ready to observe, get ready ourselves for worship. And as many Unitarian churches do the world over, we light our chalice to welcome the divine into our service. And our chalice lighting today is by the Reverend Cliff Reed. In the world's grief and darkness, we keep a flame burning, the flame of hope, the flame of truth, the flame that warms the heart with loving kindness.
The Quarrelling Tools, the retelling of a Swedish folk story. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a village in a far northern country, there was a carpenter's workshop. One day, when the carpenter was away for a while, a mighty quarrel broke out on the workbench among the tools. The dispute went on and became more and more embittered. The argument was about the need to exclude certain tools from the community. "We really have to exclude Sister Saw," one of the tools began. "She bites and she grinds her teeth. She has the most peevish character anyone could imagine." "We absolutely can't keep Brother Plain among us any longer," another tool chimed in. "He has a cruel nature, scraping at everything he touches." "As for Brother Hammer," a third insisted, "I find him such a bore and rowdy with it. He thumps away all the time and gets on all of our nerves. Let's get rid of him." "And what about the nails?" asked a fourth. "How can we be expected to live alongside such sharp characters? They're a positive hazard to us all." "And the file and the rasp as well. Living with them is one constant cause of friction. And while we're about it, we should send the sandpaper away, because she seems to be the reason why this workshop is in such a fractious mood." And the whole dispute rapidly became a battleground of all the tools, each one trying to outshout the other. History doesn't record whether it was the hammer who accused the saw or the plane who objected to the nails, but the outcome of the melee was that all of the tools found themselves excluded. The fracas came to a sudden end, however, on the return of the carpenter to his workshop. All the tools fell silent when they saw him approaching. He picked up a plank of wood and cut it with a biting sister saw. He smoothed it down with cruel scraping Brother Plain. With boring, rowdy brother hammer, he drove in the sharp, hazardous nails. Using rough-natured brother file and abrasive sister sandpaper, he made a velvet finish on the wood. Not a single one of the tools was left out as the carpenter went about his task of creating a cradle. A cradle to receive a little child. A cradle to receive life.
So let us now take time for prayer. Keep us united, Spirit of oneness. Keep us united where we already are, and make us united where we are not. Keep this land of many peoples united, as it became united step by step, through centuries of rivalry, war, and conflict. Save us from all that would divide us, and return us to a dark past. May the quest for unity keep the peace of this continent, the peace that came after centuries of war and slaughter, the peace where freedom and democracy replace the rule of tyrants and despots. May the faltering steps towards unity find a path through the traps and the pitfalls that beset the way. For there is no easy way. May awareness of the unity of humankind supplant the false divisions that infest our minds, the divisions of race and of nations, politics and ideology, and religion. Spirit of unity, teach us that our rich diversities need not be threatened by realizing the truth of our oneness. And teach us also not to make false gods of those diversities. The enemies of unity, injustice, oppression, inhumanity, unkindness, delusions of difference, may they disappear. We are the human race. We are the earth. We are united. May it be so. Amen. And I invite you now to join with me in saying the words of the Lord's Prayer as you feel able. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. August the 6th this week marked the anniversary of the dropping of the atom bomb on Hiroshima. And I'm going to tell you now the story of Sadako Sasuke, who was a Japanese girl who lived in Hiroshima in Japan. Well, in August 1945, when she was just 2 years old, the atomic bomb was dropped about 1 mile away from her home. Now, she and her family managed to escape, although her grandmother ran back to the house to fetch something, and she was never seen again. Sadako then had a normal childhood and was a very good runner. Her class, which won the school's relay race, was very proud of her running skills. But it was during a run that she first fell ill, and she was 11 years old. When she was 12 in 1955, her illness became worse, and she was diagnosed with leukemia, a cancer which affected many children who had been exposed to radiation because of the atom bomb. Her family was told that she would have less than 1 year to live, and as she grew more ill, she was put into hospital. Now, Sadako was told the story of the 1,000 cranes. If one could fold 1,000 paper cranes, then your wish would be granted. Now, the crane is the sign of longevity. And so Sadako began to fold paper cranes. She didn't always have origami paper, so she used whatever she could find. Newspaper, medicine wrappings, scraps of wrapping paper from Get Well gifts. She folded and folded. Some people say that she did fold over 1,000 cranes before she died, but others say that she managed to fold only just over 600. We don't know what the truth is, but we do know that sadly Sadako didn't manage to fight off the terrible cancer. But she never gave up and was cheerful and courageous to her end. And in October 1955, she died peacefully in hospital. The children in her class were very sad and decided to raise money for a special memorial for Sadako and other children who had died because of the atomic bomb. They wrote and published a book about Sadako, and they sent letters to schools all over Japan. It took them 3 years to raise enough money to build the Children's Peace Monument, which is in the Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima. It has a statue of Sadako on top, as well as an origami crane. And at the bottom of the statue, there is a plaque which has a message from the children, which reads, "This is our cry. This is our prayer. Peace in the world." God of love, in a time of silence, we bring before you the thoughts of our hearts and our minds. And at this time, we ask for your grace and blessing on those of our community who grieve at this time. In particular, we think of Lizzie's immediate family, Pete, Tom and Vicky, and also Lizzie's mum, Chris. Please comfort them in their hour of need. And we ask for your healing grace for all those who are ill. We hold in our prayers Peter in hospital for hip surgery. And we think of others who are known to us. May they find the help and the support that they need during this stressful time. We give thanks for the many blessings bestowed upon our community. In particular, we give thanks for the birth of Teddy and the engagement between Dan and Nicole. May their lives be blessed with love and affection. Loving Spirit, hear our prayers. Amen. Well, I don't know how many of you have siblings, or how many of you have driven your parents round the bend with your squabbling. I'm one of 4 children, and me and my 2 sisters shared a bedroom until I was about 17. And I remember plenty of pillow fights and a lot of complaints and a lot of squabbling. And our story, which Kirsty very kindly read for us today, the story about the tools, reminds me of me and my siblings. But it also reminds me of a child that was born in a stable many years ago. This child grew up to be a man of peace, who left his message of peace to the world, not that humankind has followed his example closely. Often we are the tools who get grouchy and discontented and want to exclude others because we don't see their true worth. And often it really does take someone else to mould us together to produce something worthwhile. Well, August the 6th marks the anniversary of the atom bomb drop on Hiroshima. But not everyone in Hiroshima became ill or died. The children who were Sadako's classmates and friends and survived did not let the horror of the atomic bomb make them bitter. Instead, they banded and bonded together to work for peace. A journalist called Peter Chordus wrote in an article published in the Japan Times on the 1st of August 2018, at Sadako's wake in 1955, Sadako's friends and classmates swore an oath before her cremated remains that they would build a monument in her honour. Their efforts sparked a children's peace movement and a fundraising campaign that swept through Japan and transformed the origami crane into an international symbol of peace. The Children's Peace Monument was officially opened on Children's Day, the 5th of May, 1958. Every year, thousands of children come to the memorial and leave their own folded origami cranes in memory of children who have died because of war, and also as a prayer for peace. Peter goes on to say that today, Kawano, a friend and classmate of Sadako's, works as an atom bomb storyteller, a business owner, and chair of Peace of Minds Hiroshima, an organisation she founded to spread Sadako's story and Hiroshima's message of peace. She did this to spread the message to children around the world. Peace Minds Hiroshima aims to reach that lofty goal, appropriately enough, on the wings of roughly 10 million paper cranes sent to the Children's Peace Monument each year. Now, together, these origami offerings amount to 10 metric tons annually, more than the weight of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs combined. Faced with the significance and staggering quantity of paper cranes, or orizuru as they're called in Japanese, the city of Hiroshima started looking for ways to recycle the overflow. Through their Orizuru notebook project, Peace Minds Hiroshima now recycles the Peace Park's cranes into notebooks. And these are distributed to children overseas. Each notebook features information in Japanese and English. And of course, about the story of Sadako, the bombing of Hiroshima, the need for peace, and nuclear abolition. They also include instructions how to fold our paper cranes. Many organisations have been founded to promote peace and help in times of crisis. The World Orchestra for Peace was founded by the late Sir Georg Solti. It has players from 45 different nationalities, and their aim is to promote cultural diversity, intercultural dialogue, and a culture of peace through music. There is also the Hiroshima Symphony Orchestra, which was founded in 1963, which is part of the Music for Peace project. And during one of their concerts, a piano which survived the bombing of Hiroshima was played for the first time in 60 years after being restored. But back to children. Many children's organisations promote peace and reconciliation between different ethnicities, religions and cultural divides. Here at Kingswood Meeting House, we are blessed with many dedicated leaders who work tirelessly to promote values that we hope will produce rounded adults who will take their part in our communities. We have rainbows, brownies, guides, rangers, boys' brigade and occasionally Sunday school. It's often said that the children are our future, but what future are we leaving them? Do we work actively to promote a better future for them? That child from Bethlehem left a message for us all. My peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you. And the children of Hiroshima, they started a peace movement that is now worldwide. Well, here at Kingswood, we're known for our warm and friendly atmosphere. But we can do more. How can we help the world? Recycle, reuse, join peace organisations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. Support organisations like the Red Cross, the Red Crescent and Médecins Sans Frontières. But we don't need to start global. Start in your own backyard. What wrongs do you see that need to be righted? What peaceful activities can you do that bring your local community together? Even during lockdown, or perhaps especially during lockdown, there are things we can do. Be vigilant. Look around you. What do people need? Well, sometimes people need our help and sometimes they don't. And what can we plan for our community for the future? What can we dream for future generations? How can Kingswood Meeting House take its place in this community? Well, when we were allowed back to come into our building, we hope to build a better future for our community. Not just our worshipping community, but the wider community of Withall and Hollywood. We have the tools to do it. We have many gifts and experiences between us that can be recycled to promote warmth and friendship in our own and the wider communities. Let's spend time during this hiatus building our inner resources so that when we do come together again, we can do the work that God sets before us. And perhaps follow the example of the children of the world who have and still do work to promote the ideals of kindness, friendship, peace and love. And may we be successful in our endeavours. Amen. And so we come to the end of our time of worship today. And I leave you with this blessing also by the Reverend Cliff Reed. Great power, silently working all things for good, surround us, infuse us, sustain us. As we take up our daily lives, be with us throughout this coming week, that we too may do good in the world. Amen.